pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are joined by 5 of our board members tonight. Our superintendent of schools, Dr. Timothy P. Harney. Our assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, Dr. Ted Fulton. Our interim assistant superintendent, Mr. Luis Frontero. Our district legal counsel, Mr. Neil Block. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome to the team. Our district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti. And we'd like to welcome approximately 3 minutes. As always, this is live streamed and posted on the website. And if you'd like to follow Dr. Harney, you can follow Dr. Harney on Twitter at BBP Soup, and you can also follow him at our school district at BBP Schools. At this time, we would open it up to the community for any new or old business. Not hearing any, we will turn it over to our superintendent of schools. Dr. Harney, how are you tonight, sir?
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Miller. First of all, I hope everyone has had a tremendous summer, and hopefully you've had some time to relax and spend some time with your family and friends. Before we get started, obviously we start school. Staff will be back next Monday, Tuesday, and students are coming in on Wednesday. So I would be remiss if I just did not thank everyone. We were able to do a building tour today with a number of our trustees here, and the buildings are looking they're looking great. Still got a couple of things as we're going, but they really are in a good place. So I really got to thank all of our clerical, our administrators, our buildings and grounds, our technology, and as we're getting ready for transportation. So it's really everybody's involved in this. So I'd like to thank them all. But we are compared to, and sometimes in past years when we've had bond work and other things going on, we are in a very good place. So I really like to thank them for all their efforts. They really are doing a tremendous job. As I said, so we do start school next week. As I said, we'll have staff in on Monday, Tuesday. Students will come in. We'll also be starting with our pre-K for next week, so that will be great. Just to give a couple people some updates on a couple of things. You should have received, as you know, in the last budget, we expanded transportation. So earlier in the month, you should have received a letter, and then most recently, you probably have received something in regards to your bus pass. But I just wanted to share some information with the board, because one of the things we were talking about is, about how many students would be impacted by this once we did some of this. So I'll share this with you compared to last year and this year. So last year at Academy, we had 38 students eligible for the bus. This year it's 145. Last year at Blue Point it was 0, now it's 65. Sylvan it was 80, now it's 200. James Wilson Young was 95, now it's 281. And the high school was 61, and now it's 271. So due to the safety zones that we had put in place and that was supported by the community, I'm happy to share with you that we have obviously a number of students who are now eligible for the bus. And now what we'll do is we'll watch it over the next number of weeks, and if we're able to do more with it because people choose not to, we'll take a look at it then, but we'll kind of go this step by step. So that's pretty good. So it's in total, if you're looking at it, it's 962 compared to 274. So that's a big number. Almost, definitely 3 times more. So that's something. So I wanted to share that with you. Also, the other thing I wanted to share with you tonight is just a quick, I'm trying to see if I can find it right now, is a quick update that came out. So yesterday you may have heard the governor came out. She had mentioned that during the week of August 22nd, that she'd come out with protocols and procedures for schools. And I'm just looking for my sheet, I apologize. And I'll send something out to the community, but really in terms of a lot of the restrictions, a lot of them have been loosened. So I'll just go through with you some of the highlights that are on there as we're going forward. for the beginning of the 22-23 school year. We received 3 documents yesterday. They are all on the website now, and they're all under COVID-19 information, so if anyone wanted to look at that, as I said, after tonight, I'll also send out an updated letter just with some of the highlights for our community members so that they're well aware of, what's taking place. But some of the highlights are, students and staff that were exposed, there is no more quarantining, so that is something. The old testing to stay, that is no longer, that ended. People who tested positive still should isolate for the 5 days at home. And then if they were to return for days 6 through 10, it is recommended that they do wear a mask at that time. And then they also have a way that you could test out earlier. Instead of going into all that, I will just share this and at home. Universal masking is obviously not required unless something happens with the local health department, but I've heard nothing of that nature, so I would not imagine that. Schools will no longer be required to offer screening testing. Schools are not required to test unvaccinated staff. If you remember, over the course of all this year, we were continuously testing on a weekly basis staff. Schools are not required to report daily. So if you remember, we used to report daily. If you remember, we had the tracker up on the website. So that is something that we do not need to do anymore as well. We do not have to do any more contact tracing, so that is there. And then also saying that from a educational standpoint, there is nothing in terms of virtual teaching. So last year, as we had offered Q School, really everything now is a sick day is a sick day. That is not something that we would be offering as well from a virtual piece. So that kind of brings us back to, I guess, as normal as people had, but I'll take any questions on that. I'll send something out, but I just want to kind of give everybody an update on that.
Thank you, Dr. Harney. Any questions or comments from trustees?
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Harney.
All right. And then the last thing that I had is we've had a couple of questions come up again about starting time at the elementary. And I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Fulton because he's actually been working on this since probably last April. He's been trying to kind of work with this along with our elementary principals. So I'll have him give you an update on where that's at.
Thank you, Dr. Harney. A little back history. Prior to COVID, parents had the ability in our three elementary school buildings to either have their children participate in My Kids, which is a paid service to watch the kids in the morning before school. But we also had the flexibility at the time, if parents wanted to drop a child off at 8:40, 8:45, that they would actually be dropped off at school. The three elementary schools would then use either teacher aides or teacher assistants to supervise the children in a large setting area, for example, like a gymnasium. After COVID, obviously during COVID with the protocols, that ability was stopped due to a variety of reasons and under the building operating procedures we're operating under. So starting last spring, the question from parents has been could we be able to return to that practice? In working with the three elementary principals and for consistency across the district, unfortunately at this time we're not able to do so because we don't have the teacher aides and assistants available to be able to actually supervise the children. In two of the buildings especially, we do have teacher assistants that are now actually functioning academic services and providing services for students in the morning before school for what we call zero period. And so that actually takes away less from the pool of adults that we would want to have to supervise those children. In addition, with regards to number of teacher aides and assistants that we have within the three elementary schools, it's just not possible right now. Now, the other question that's come up is that there's a perception that it's been a loss of instructional time for students in the building. But the way instructional time worked is the students were in the building and then they were sent to their classes at 9:05. So that has not changed. Students will still be sent to classes at 9:05 and instructional time begins approximately at 9:15. So really what it is, it's a reduction of our ability to be able to supervise children in the morning separate of the My Kids program.
STEM, it is something that you had put out a number of times, correct, and were unlucky to have
Yes.
staff. And then also the other piece is, the good piece is being able to service some of the students prior to school. That means they're not being pulled out during the instructional day.
Yes, the advantage of providing students academic services prior to the start of school means that they're not pulled out of their class time, their our teachers' college reading, writing, or math time for those services. To try to increase the number of people, I even tried to explore to see if we could even expand the number of people we have working on My Kids program, and as of this time, we're not able to actually secure the bodies to be able to fill the positions. So that makes it difficult. So yes, we've enhanced and increased our ability to have academic support services prior to the start of school, but we don't have the people available to supervise the students for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on what the parents' needs are, like we had done prior to COVID.
That is all that I have. Thank you, Dr. Fulton.
Thank you, Dr. Harney. Thank you, Dr. Fulton. Moving on. Want to turn it over to our student delegate. Ms. Denton, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good evening. My name is Emily Denton, and next Wednesday I'll be entering my senior year and final year at BBP. The idea of being a senior always seemed like such a far-off thing, and now it's a reality. As the next couple months become crazy busy with deadlines and applications, I'm excited to experience my last year as a Bayport student. I'd like to thank Mr. Haas, Dr. Hardy, and the entirety of the board for the opportunity to represent the student body this year. As summer's coming to an end, the start of the school year is rapidly approaching. There are many student-oriented activities and announcements to take note of. Starting with most recently the release of schedules. Schedules for the upcoming school year were released as of 3 p.m. this afternoon. They can be accessed by logging into the parent portal accounts each student has. Tomorrow morning at 9:15, students grades 10 through 12 involved in the district's peers-to-peers program will undergo training at the Bayport Blueprint Library to prepare for freshman orientation on Thursday from 11 to 1, and our peer mentor program that will extend into the school year. This is the 7th year that the high school is running its peers-to-peers program, and the program teams incoming freshmen with upperclassmen according to lunch periods. The mentors are encouraged to keep consistent contact with their freshmen as they undergo the transition from middle school to high school. The program works to provide our students with all forms of support, whether they're academic, emotional, or social. Each of our peers-to-peers students is looking forward to the new faces in the high school this year. In coordination with the recent release of schedules, it's encouraged that our incoming 9th graders bring their schedules to orientation. It's a great opportunity to ask their mentors for any questions they may have before the first day. For many of our student athletes, this Monday signified the conclusion of summer as they made their return to the gym and the fields for the first week of practice. For those who live near or pass by the buildings throughout the day, you'll notice our grounds are a lot more populated as this transition at the beginning of the year has begun. Last year, we had a variety of successes among our fall teams. Our girls' varsity tennis team were the Division III champions and Suffolk County small school champs. Field hockey is the reigning Division II champions. Boys cross country was undefeated league champs. The girls volleyball team were Suffolk County finalists. The varsity girls swimming and diving team were league champs, and our football team were division champs and Suffolk County finalists. We're so excited for this year's fall sports season and can't wait to cheer on all our teams. For our incoming senior class, senior parking stickers were administered yesterday and today in the high school cafeteria, and senior photos will be taken tomorrow, August 24th, and Thursday, August 25th in room 120 at the high school. Information was mailed via William James Photography, and the appointment date and time should have been included. Any questions can be forwarded directly to the photographer at 631-403-4017. As we enter the 2022-2023 school years, I'd like to thank our district on behalf of all the students and families who live north of Montauk Highway. Our district is now providing buses to any child in the district that has to cross Montauk Highway or Nichols Road on their way to school. The information regarding bus number, bus stop location, and approximate pickup times were included in the letters mailed out this past weekend. We're extremely appreciative of the new safety precautions put in place. In the current climate of concern of student stress levels, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our administrative staff for implementing and carrying through the district-wide no homework nights, which gives students an opportunity to take a break and reset throughout the year. It is the hope of the student body that they will continue to be implemented and with greater frequency this school year. The student body looks forward to a school year that resembles an environment pre-COVID, and I look forward to representing the student body, sharing our achievements, and expressing our concerns throughout the year. Thank you again for this time and opportunity.
Awesome job. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for that. We appreciate that update, very thorough. Any questions from trustees? Well, Emily, thank you so much for that. We do appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you each month up here. Thanks a lot. Yeah, let's turn it over to Dr. Honey real quick.
Yeah, just on a side note, and Ms. Denton made me think of this, is just in case there's anybody out there, tomorrow the middle school is open for the 6th graders so that they can do their locker tryouts tomorrow, and I believe that's starting at 9 a.m., correct? So if anyone's out there, and I know Mr. Andruskowitz had already sent everything home, but in case anyone missed it or was away, please come on in tomorrow so that we can kind of show you around the middle school.
Thank you, Dr. Harney. Moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any items the board would like to remove from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda? Not hearing any, can I have a motion to approve consent agenda items E, F, G, H, I, J, and K?
So moved.
Ms. Roan, second? Was that you? Sorry, I want to be paying attention this time. Ms. Conley, second, that was Ms. Conley. Second by Mr. Krug. Any discussion? I said a quick thing. This is a very large agenda tonight, so we'd like to congratulate and welcome all the new staff members for the 2022-2023 school year. This is a very special community and district, as we always say, and we look forward to your continued growth and success here with our students. In addition, we'd like to thank the Seed Foundation, the Academy Street PTA, Safeware, the Long Island Tree and Landscape Service, and the Recycled Materials for their gracious donation for the arts and education, the computer supplies, the stump seating and logs for the courtyard at the middle school, and the elementary fabricated benches. We truly appreciate it. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to the regular agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the Third Amendment for the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Timothy P. Harney? Ms. Pignataro, second by Ms. Conley. Just a quick discussion. Dr. Harney, we would like to thank you for being such a great transformational leader in our community. Appreciated. It is our hope that you will not retire for approximately 15 years or so. But we're
Nine words and first grader and a third grader and a fifth grader, and now they're all out of college, and this will be the first year that I don't have somebody going to school, which is a little bit different for me, but it just tells you how much time flies, how quick time flies. So I just want to thank you for everything and thank the board, and again, thank everybody within the community and especially the staff here.
Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations, Dr. Harney. Moving on to item number 2, can I have a motion to review and adopt the first reading of policy 1240.1, parent community visitation to our schools?
So moved.
Ms. Conley, second?
Second.
Ms. Saron, any discussion? This language is updated to the policy to reflect current practices and regulations. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to our next policy, can I have a motion to review and adopt the first reading of policy 1900, parent and family engagement?
So moved.
Ms. Pignataro, second by Mr. Krug. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to our fourth policy, can I have a motion to review and adopt the first reading of policy 6710.1, purchasing?
So moved.
Ms. Saron, second. Ms. Pignataro. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Moving on, can I have a motion to adopt the first reading of policy 6710.1R, or regulation for the purchasing?
So moved.
Ms. Pignataro, second.
Second.
Ms. Kane. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Can I have a motion to adopt the first reading of policy 1130, news and media relations?
So moved.
Ms. Saron? Ms. Saron, second. Mr. Krug, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to our next policy, can I have a motion to review and adopt the first reading of policy 1915, display of the flag?
So moved.
Ms.
Second.
Kane, second by Ms.
Second.
Pignataro. Any discussion? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Can I have a motion to approve the first reading of policy 2200, the annual budget vote and school board elections?
So moved.
Ms. Saron, second by Mr. Krug. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Can I have a motion to repeal of any policy to be completed with only one reading for,
Abolishing policy 1050.
to abolish policy 1050, annual district meetings and election repeal?
So moved.
Ms. Conley, second. Ms. Pignataro, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Three more. Can I have a motion to adopt the first reading of policy 2350, Board of Education meetings?
So moved.
Ms. Saron, second by Mr. Krug. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, abstentions, last policy. Can I have a motion to approve the first reading of policy 6510.1, bonding of personnel?
So moved.
Ms. Pignataro, second.
Second.
Ms. Saron. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Our last one, as always, we have our Budget Advisory Committee each year. There's an application online. But can I have a motion to appoint the following BAC members and adopt the charge below?
So moved.
Ms. Kane, second by Mr. Krug. Just so we know who the members are, Mr. Devine, he's been the chair for many years now, Mr. Capozzi, Mr. David, Mr. Kessler, Mr. McCarthy, Ms. McCormick, Mr. McQuaid, Mr. Roop, John Salter, and Mr. Alex Williams. And the charge, if there's anybody who would like to make any additions, this would be a time to make addition to any of the charges. They're going to be researching, advising the Board of Education on the creation of a new budget reporting product that will provide an informative and transparent decision support tool for the board and district voters. The second charge, monitor and analyze current year budget executions monthly and quarterly and make recommendations or communicate potential over-execution issues to the Board of Education. Does anybody have any concerns or would like to see any additions? Not hearing any. As always, just want to thank the Budget Advisory Committee members for giving up so much of their time throughout the year. And Mr. Roop, thank you for everything. Truly appreciate it. And thank Ronnie for leading that for many years. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. At this time, we'll open it up to the community members for any new business. Yeah.
Well, this is something with conversations I have with parents. Across the 3 elementary buildings, the original dismissal time is 3:15 to 3:25. Now, each,
On the website, it still says 3:25.
but
It's on your guys' website.
I understand, and I'll look into the website for correction, but the dismissal has been 3:15 through 25. We do have 3 elementary school buildings, so the process is a little different. Some buildings let walkers go first, some buildings dismiss the bus first, but the period for dismissal for the 3 elementary buildings has been and is 3:15 to 3:25.
All right, it used to be 3:25, like it says on the district website before COVID, but now COVID came, now it's 3:15.
If the district, I can only go by what the actual practice has been and from what my principals have shared with me.
Before COVID, I told my, I used to pick my kid up, and it still says instructional time 3:25 on your website, so you might want to update that.
Okay, I most certainly will look into it.
Any other community, new business, or old business? Trustees, any new business? Connie?
I just wanted to thank the admin team, buildings and grounds, custodial, clerical, and everyone involved for keeping our schools as the heart of our community throughout the summer. Every time I drove by, there was, a theater camp, track, soccer, tennis, volleyball. There's always something going on. ISF, where our students can volunteer to help. And it's wonderful to have things that allow our students to want to come back to the building. So thank you, everyone, for making that happen. And thank you, everyone, for making our schools ready for the upcoming school year and inviting for our little ones who are coming in. Especially, we got a tour today, and the pre-K classrooms are just so warm and inviting and lively. And I'm super excited that that program is starting. Also, Mike touched on this briefly, but just because it gets buried in our consent agenda, I'm very excited about the tree donations to the middle school courtyard. They're going to have logs and stumps as extra seating, so I think that courtyard will get used a lot more, and it's a really beautiful space. Super exciting. And I also just wanted to highlight, we have a senior who is going to be involved in All Honors Chorus, which is a testament to her talents and also our wonderful music department and community. So congratulations to Airly. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other trustees? Not hearing any, can I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Cruz, always first on that one.
Second.
Second? Ms. Conley? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you guys so much. We truly appreciate it. Looking forward to the start of the school year. Dr. Harney and your team, thank you so much for everything you've done to get us ready. Appreciate it.